Hello and welcome to another video lesson with Mr. Roman. Today we're going to be talking about the distance formula and midpoint formula. So on a coordinate plane we have points that indicate locations, and we need to be able to find the distance between those points. So we use what's called the distance formula. The distance formula is as follows. You have the square root of x1 minus x2 quantity squared plus y1 minus y2 quantity squared. And here you could also write it as x2 minus x1 quantity squared plus y2 minus y1 quantity squared. That would be also a correct way to write the formula. Now again, this is for 2 points in the coordinate plane. You don't necessarily need to plot the points to be able to find the distance. So, for example, if I was given 2 points, -4, 6, and -1, 3, here we can say that this is considered point 1 and this is considered point 2. And we could say this is x1 and this is y1. This would be x2 and y2. So point 1 has an x and a y coordinate, point 2 has an x and a y coordinate. Now, we would use this information inside the formula. So let's write that out. We have x1, which is -4, minus -1 quantity squared, plus y1, which is 6, minus 3 quantity squared. And here we see that we're subtracting a negative number, and this is where a lot of students get tripped up, is they want to just subtract 1 here. But it's not just 1, it's subtracting a -1, so we need to write it as such. And what's going to happen here is we're going to really be adding a positive 1. So it's going to be -4 plus 1, which is -3, and then 6 minus 3, which is 3. So really inside the exponent, or the radical here, we have the square root of -3 squared plus 3 squared. -3 squared is going to be -3 times -3, which is going to be a positive 9. Plus 3 times 3, which is 9. And then 9 plus 9 is 18. And then the square root of 18 is equal to approximately 4.24. So the distance here would be 4.24 units, since we're not sure exactly what type of units we're dealing with. Let's suppose then I wanted to find the midpoint between 2 points in the coordinate plane. So the midpoint formula here is x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 all over 2. And it's important here that between the two we have a comma, and on the outside we have the parentheses, indicating that this is actually a point on the graph. And again, x1, x2, y1, y2, these are coordinates of 2 other points. So let's suppose I had the same 2 points again, -4, 6 and -1, 3. Again, we would consider this x1 and this y1, and this would be x2 and this would be y2. And so really what we're doing here is we're taking the average of the x coordinates and then the average of the y coordinates, and those form 2 new coordinates. So this, plugging it in, we have -4 plus -1 over 2, comma, 6 plus 3 over 2. Here this would give us -5 over 2, and then this would give us 9 over 2. And if we wanted to write that as a mixed number, so we could say this is really -2.5, 4.5. as the midpoint. And again, we need the parentheses here, and we need a comma between the two numbers to indicate that this is actually a point on the graph. That concludes our review of distance and midpoint formula.